So many students' lives revolve around technology. They spend their free time with their phones, their tablets, their smartwatches, smart TVs, and all these electronic devices that help them make staying connected much easier. The purpose of this action research plan is to begin to study those familiar technology devices and also implement those into a school setting. Because if it's making their outside lives so much easier, why not incorporate that to maybe increase that classroom participation as well? The students will be exposed to an interactive whiteboard for a set amount of time while the data is tracked on their engagement. The action plan is meant to integrate electronics like the interactive whiteboard into the lessons and to study their engagement and their attitude towards the class. The research questions are: what was used to determine how much a student participated? What change in the student's participation when implementing interactive whiteboards? And what correlation did the interactive whiteboards have on student participation? So the data will be taken from the number of times the student spoke, the verbal prompts to stay on task, and their attendance. So the teacher will be responsible to track the paper attendance in the book every day. The teacher or the other researcher will create the data tracking sheet for when a student speaks and also for when they're on or off task. Then they will also need a tally sheet for the students of how many verbal prompts they needed as well. So the assistant in the room will do those tally sheets while the teacher is responsible for the actual lesson. And then the data will be made sure to be tracked every 15 minutes in order to make sure it's taken consistently. So in order to make sure the data is also being done consistently, the action research plan will only take place in one class period to begin with. This will give us some more control, and then that class will be the case participants throughout the first round of the action research. As more data is gained, we can spread the area into more classes, more subjects, so that we can continue the action research. So other than the teacher and the assistant, and if there's another researcher involved, an additional stakeholder would be the technology department to make sure our technology is working properly. Another stakeholder would be the administration to help us debrief and analyze the data as well and provide suggestions. And then another stakeholder would be the overall community and the school district, because overall the goal is to help other members in the community also benefit from this study on integrating technology and to show if technology does help improve student learning and student class participation. So based on the action plan that was implemented, the students were able to stay engaged with the lesson more because they were interacting with the smart whiteboard. The students' attitude changed and their interest to learn increased as well. The students are participating on the board instead of staying in the same spot, not knowing if they're just pretending to listen or not. In addition, the students showed improvements during the action study because the teacher was able to see in real time their improvements. They were able to see it instantly, not wait for the next day until they grade their quiz or the exit slip. They could see right then and there, and then they could know if they needed to reteach the concept again. So before the action research study, engagement was on average 60% of the time. After the action research study, the first round, the engagement was up to 70% of the time. This was taken as a global whole, so not individual student data. That will be taken as the action research continues. So the students' participation increased when integrating the interactive whiteboards into the lessons because they were able to get up and be a part of the learning experience. The students are going to continue to use electronics in whole group, small group, individually to get the full picture of the student engagement with technology. This is important because we want the students to continue to provide feedback to us while we're trying the different resources. So our next step is to incorporate it into more classes, do more settings, maybe try different technology devices to expand the action research. So I'm excited to see how this changes student engagement and student class participation. Well, thank you. Have a great night.